Jacob Harrow secured a cabin for a mere 25 cents under the bright sun at a public auction, where men with full wallets stood mute, observing as he placed his bid on what seemed like the steal of a century. Yet no one else lifted a hand. Jacob scanned the modest crowd outside the worn courthouse, anticipating a challenge to his offer. The auctioneer's gavel hovered, poised for action. The cabin rested on 12 acres of fertile land, complete with a well and a corral fit for 20 cattle. The roof needed repairs, no doubt, but 25 cents? The silence lingered too long. Going once, the auctioneer announced, his tone lacking its usual vigor. Jacob noticed something odd. The crowd as eyes weren't on the cabin, they were on him. Their gazes not of jealousy or irritation, but something chilling. Pity, as if he'd just signed his own doom instead of scoring a bargain. Going twice, and an elderly woman, Eliza Thorne, edged closer, her gnarled hands clutching her shawl. She whispered, "You don't want that place, son. Trust me." Before Jacob could press her, the gavel slammed down with a crack that echoed too loudly. Sold to the man in the brown coat for 25 cents. The crowd scattered quickly, unusually so, as if desperate to flee. As Jacob approached the auctioneer to finalize the sale, he caught snippets of hushed whispers on the breeze. Should have warned him. No one's entered in 15 years. What happened to the last guy who tried? The auctioneer handed over the deed with trembling hands, avoiding Jacob's gaze. When asked about the property's past, the man shook his head and walked off without a word. Then Jacob noticed something eerie. Every person at the auction was now watching him from afar, none heading to their horses or wagons. They lingered, as if waiting for something to unfold, something that had happened before. The ride to the cabin felt unnaturally long, each hoofbeat heavy with the weight of those staring eyes. Jacob couldn't shake the sense that he'd made a grave error, though 25 cents for 12 acres was still an incredible deal. The property lay at the end of a twisting dirt path, surrounded by overgrown grass untouched for years. The cabin was smaller than he'd imagined, a single room with a stone chimney, and grimy windows that looked black from outside, but its structure was sound, with solid logs and a firm foundation. Jacob tied his horse to a post and approached the door. The handle turned too smoothly, as if maintained despite the apparent desertion. Inside, dust swirled in the afternoon light, filtering through cracked shutters. The air was stale but not decayed, not like a place abandoned for 15 years. His boots creaked on the wooden floor as he explored. A plain table stood against one wall, 2 chairs neatly tucked beneath. A stone fireplace loomed opposite, cold ashes heaped in the grate. Above it, a clean rectangular patch on the wall hinted at a recently removed painting or mirror. But the floor drew his eye. In the room's center, the planks were arranged differently, not damaged, but deliberately cut into a perfect square, like a sealed trapdoor. Jacob knelt, tracing the tight seams filled with hardened black resin. Someone had gone to great lengths to ensure this section stayed shut forever. A shadow crossed the window. Glancing up, he saw a rider watching from the tree line, deliberately hidden. Their eyes met through the filthy glass, and the figure spurred away. But not before Jacob recognized the wide-brimmed hat with a silver band one he'd seen on a man at the auction, staring with that same pitying look. Someone was guarding the cabin, likely had been for years. Why? What lay beneath those sealed boards? And what would happen now that Jacob had bought the place and stumbled onto their secret? The hoofbeats faded, but Jacob felt the rider wasn't gone for good, likely off to report that the new owner had found what they'd hoped would stay hidden. He spent the afternoon inspecting every inch of the cabin, but the sealed floor remained the greatest enigma. Whatever was beneath was important enough to seal permanently, yet not enough to remove. As dusk neared, he rode back to town for supplies and answers. The general store was nearly empty, but conversations halted when he entered. The storekeeper, a wiry man with fidgety hands, barely met his gaze. "Need tools," Jacob said, placing coins on the counter. "Hammer, pry bar, some nails." The storekeeper's hands shook as he gathered the items. "Fixing up a place." "The cabin on Raven's Ridge. Bought it today." Every customer turned to stare. A woman by the fabric counter dropped her sewing basket, thread spilling across the floor. An old man by the window shook his head as if witnessing a tragedy. "That'll be $2, the storekeeper muttered, shoving the tools forward without letting Jacob inspect them. The back door opened, and a tall man with sharp features stepped in the same rider from the tree line. His silver-banded hat gleamed in the lamplight, his coat dusted from a hard ride. "Calvin Holt," he introduced himself, offering a calloused hand that spoke of years of handling a gun. "Heard you made an interesting purchase. News travels fast." "Especially bad news." His smile didn't reach his eyes. "I'm here to offer $500 for that cabin. Cash tonight." The storekeeper dropped a jar of preserves, the crash echoing like a gunshot. "That's a big profit," Jacob said cautiously. "Why pay so much for something no one else wanted?" "Sentimental reasons," Calvin replied, his hand inching toward his hip. "I've watched that property a long time, ensuring nothing's disturbed, but now it's legally yours." He produced a heavy coin pouch. $500, final offer. The store's occupants radiated the same message. Take the money and run. Whatever was under that floor, the town knew, and they wanted it to stay buried. But Calvin's desperation made Jacob wary. Men didn't offer 20 times a property's cost unless they needed it desperately. "I'll keep my investment," Jacob said, backing toward the door. Calvin's face darkened. "That's unwise. Is that a threat?" "I'm trying to save your life." The words hung heavy. Everyone in the store froze, as if awaiting disaster. Then the sound of approaching horses made them tense further. Through the window, Jacob saw 3 riders dismount, hands on weapons. One nodded to Calvin. "Too late," Calvin whispered. "They know you've seen it." The 3 men entered with authority. The first, tall and lean with a deputy's badge, scanned the room before locking eyes with Jacob. The second, well-dressed with soft hands, was Gideon Vale. The third guarded the door, hand on his gun. "Gideon Vale," the well-dressed man said, addressing Calvin. "I thought we agreed on how to handle this." Calvin's jaw tightened. "I offered fair money." He refused. "Fair?" Gideon laughed coldly. "Enough to buy a ranch. Didn't that make him curious?" Jacob realized this was an old argument. These men were long entangled. He was the new variable. "Gentlemen," Jacob cut in, "I don't know why a rundown cabin has you so riled, but you opened the floor yet?" The question stunned them. The storekeeper retreated from his counter. "What floor?" Jacob asked, knowing the answer. Gideon stepped closer. "The sealed section. Everyone who's been in that cabin notices it. That's why no one's lived there for 15 years. What's underneath?" "Papers," Gideon said. "Old papers some want buried. What kind?" The deputy, voice rough from tobacco, spoke. The kind that could hang a man or make him rich enough to vanish. It clicked. The cabin wasn't abandoned, it was evacuated. Someone hid valuable or damning documents, ensuring no one could claim the property until now. So, the previous owner, Jacob said slowly, hid something, then what? Died? Murdered, Eliza Thorne said from the doorway, shawl clutched tight. Elijah Ward was shot in the back 3 days after sealing that floor. Gideon paled. Eliza, stop. No, she said, voice firm. He deserves to know. Elijah found proof of land fraud, important people selling the same land multiple times, pocketing the cash, then vanishing. The store fell silent. Jacob's heart pounded. He owned a property hiding evidence of massive fraud worth killing for. Now you see, Calvin said, why I offered $500. Before Jacob could reply, the deputy's hand moved to his gun. He knows too much now. Eliza stepped between them. You'll have to shoot me first, Deputy Carver. Think you can kill an old woman in front of witnesses? Carver hesitated, looking to Gideon, who eyed Jacob calculatingly. There's another way, Gideon said. What if Mr. Harrow became our partner? Calvin scoffed. You're joking. He owns the property legally. He can access those documents without breaking the law. We split what's under there, and everyone gets rich. Jacob weighed the stairs. What makes you think there's money down there? Eliza said it's evidence. Elijah wasn't just collecting evidence, Gideon said. He was extorting those he planned to expose. He had a fortune before they silenced him. How much? Enough to buy half the territory, the deputy said. Jacob's mind raced. The floor held not just evidence, but blackmail profits. What stops you from killing me once I hand it over? We need you alive, Gideon said. You're the legal owner. Without you, we're thieves. With you, we're partners. Eliza shook her head. Don't trust them, son. They killed Elijah. We didn't, Carver said, but we know who did. And if those papers surface, that person will kill anyone tied to them. A new player, more dangerous, had killed Elijah. Who? Jacob asked. They exchanged glances. Calvin spoke. Someone powerful enough to make this town forget. Someone who's watched that cabin for 15 years, waiting for a fool to buy it. The auction was public, Gideon added. By tomorrow, the territory will know the cabin has a new owner. Carver stepped back. You have tonight, maybe less. Once word spreads, they'll come. Jacob felt trapped. He'd bought a bargain that was now a death sentence. So what's it going to be? Gideon asked. Partner with us and get rich, or go alone and end up like Elijah. A new voice cut through from the window. None of you will see tomorrow. A figure stood silhouetted, rifle aimed through the glass. The killer had arrived. If you're gripped by this tale, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Frontier stories. Your support brings these tailies to life weekly. The figure stepped inside, rifle steady. He was older, about 60, with silver hair and fine clothes signaling wealth. His eyes held a killer's cold certainty. Judge Nathaniel Stone, Eliza whispered. Jacob's stomach sank. A judge. No wonder the town was terrified. This wasn't just about money. It was about a powerful man guarding secrets. Hello, Eliza, Stone said, as if greeting a friend. I hoped we wouldn't meet again. You killed Elijah Ward, she accused. Elijah was a blackmailer and thief. I delivered justice outside the court, Stone said, rifle unwavering. Though his timing was inconvenient, He sealed those papers before I could get them. Gideon raised a hand. Judge, we can settle this. No one wants trouble. Trouble? Stone laughed. Mr. Vale, you've sold fake land claims for 15 years using my forged signatures. You've stolen thousands from trusting families. Trouble found you long ago. The truth crystallized. Stone orchestrated the fraud, his signatures legitimizing fake deeds. Elijah tried to blackmail him and was killed. What about the money? Calvin asked. Elijah collected payments. $43,000 over 2 years, Stone said. Money belonging to the families you cheated. I'll return it. Carver laughed. Noble, Judge, but you'll be dead once this gets out. It won't, Stone said, because none of you will live to tell. But Jacob noticed Stone's trembling left hand and sweating brow. He was desperate, not cold-blooded. Killing 6 people in a public store won't help, Jacob said. It'll make things worse. 5, Stone corrected. You'll help me get those papers, then disappear with enough money to start over. And if I refuse? You join Elijah in the grave. Eliza stepped forward. Nathaniel Stone, I've known you since you stole apples from my orchard. Your father would be ashamed. Stone's face flickered with pain. My father never faced reputation versus survival. The rifle dipped slightly. Carver tackled Stone, the gun firing into the ceiling. Chaos erupted. Calvin grabbed his gun, and Gideon ran for the back door. Stop, Jacob shouted, drawing his pistol. Everyone froze. We're all going to the cabin. We'll open that floor and see what Elijah died for. That's suicide, Calvin said. He'll kill us. No, Jacob said. The judge needs something down there more than revenge. Don't you? Stone didn't deny it. What's there besides money? Jacob pressed. Letters, Eliza said. Elijah told me. Stone was taking orders from someone in the territorial government. The truth hit hard. Stone was a pawn in a larger scheme. Those letters prove you were following orders, Jacob said. Without them, you take the fall. Stone sagged. The governor's been stealing land grants for 5 years, selling parcels multiple times, using judges to legalize it. I thought I was serving justice. So Elijah had proof, Carver said. Letters, payment records. Stone nodded. Enough to hang half the government. It's also my only chance to avoid the noose. Jacob made a decision. We go to the cabin, all of us. We get the evidence and decide what to do. What makes you think we'll trust each other? Calvin asked. Because we're all dead if we don't. Jacob helped Stone up as horses approached. The governor's men had arrived. Eliza, another way out? Old mining trail, she said. Dangerous in the dark. Better than a firing squad. They fled through the back door as the front window shattered under gunfire. 6 of them, Jacob, Stone, Calvin, Carver, Gideon, and Eliza, reached their horses. Pursuit closed in. The trail was treacherous, winding through rocky terrain. They reached the cabin at dawn. Jacob pried open the sealed floor, revealing a strong box and a satchel. The box held coins. The satchel, letters and records exposing the governor's fraud. Dear God, Gideon whispered. He sold parcels 15, 20 times. A letter from the governor ordered Elijah's murder. Horses approached. 8 riders surrounded the cabin. Throw out your weapons, a voice demanded. Jacob had an idea. This evidence names everyone, including those men. He stepped onto the porch, holding the satchel. Your names are here too. Webb's planning to eliminate you as loose ends. Stone backed him. It's true. More men are coming to kill you. The leader dismounted. What do you want? Help us get this to the territorial marshal. Testify against Webb for immunity. They agreed. 3 days later, Governor Silas Reed was arrested. The evidence exposed $200,000 in stolen grants and murders. Stone got a reduced sentence. Calvin, Carver, and Gideon faced charges but testified against others. Eliza got money to live comfortably. Jacob kept the cabin, building a thriving ranch. The 25-cent purchase taught him his own strength, exposing a corrupt governor and restoring justice. The cabin now held honest records, its floor replaced, windows clean. Jacob had become a man who stood for what was right, worth more than any hidden fortune. Thank you for joining this frontier tale. If you enjoyed this story of courage and justice, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Wild West adventures. Your support keeps these stories coming.